I want to get to the more into the dad stuff in a second, but I want to circle back because you were talking about the step-by-step kind of thing that the kid can run through, but I want to get more specific about that because kids don't know.
Okay.
So first, before we go to dads, so the first thing that we were talking about is you first need to identify the difference between, or try to identify the difference between something that's abusive or dad's just a pain in your ass, because there's a difference. So if you're a kid, you might not know. That's why this is a tricky topic, right? Because it's hard to know. So if it's something where you feel like you're being emotionally abused or physically abused, even worse, then you need help. Like, you need someone to help you. That's not, if you're 14 or 17 or whatever, it's not up to you necessarily. You shouldn't have to deal with that on your own. So you need to go get help from somebody, whether it's mom, whether it's grandpa, whether you call the cops, whether you tell your coach, whether you do something. If it's serious then that's, so we're not talking about that. We're putting that aside for the conversation. So first of all, that's the first question. So assuming it's not abusive, that's kind of what I'm going to focus on from now on. So the first thing we said is you should try to go talk to your dad. Okay. So this is something that I wish I would have done. And this is what I said to Connor when I answered him just briefly. I said, try to go talk to your dad. And that's something I wish I would have done when I was younger. But it's hard, man. You're a kid. It's hard to go have a mature conversation when you're a kid. But that's the first step, because at least you're bringing it to his attention, because maybe he's just a little bit over the top and he doesn't know that that's what he's doing. He needs someone to center him again, to make him realize, hey man, you're going a little bit too far with this. So what would you say as dad? Because I have my own opinion, but if you're the dad and your kid's going to come talk to you, what should kids say to dad? Or how do you approach the conversation with dad?
So you're asking me, you're my son, you're asking me.
Yeah, what should your kid say?
Shut up, basically.
If Charlie was going to come talk to you and say, "Hey, Dad, relax." What is Charlie? No, not. I'm saying, what should the kid say to you? Like, what would you tell a kid to go say to your dad?
This is what I'm saying. I'm reasonable. Right? My son could talk to me. I actually take what he says. So I.
But let's assume, because we're going to escalate it. So assume Dad's reasonable. Assume it's just a conversation that he needs. Yeah. What do you say?
Dad. It seems like all we ever talk about is hockey, and I don't want to talk about hockey that much. I'm trying my best, or like along those lines. Yeah. Like I feel like
you're putting a lot of pressure on me.
Yeah, I feel like you're putting a lot of pressure on me. All we ever talk about is hockey, or you always think I could do better, but I'm actually trying my best. Or Dad, when you talk about hockey, it makes it less fun. Those are kind of kids' words. It makes it less fun, or
even when you're watching, Dad, when you're watching me, like, it makes me mess up, like, or it's making me feel like I can't play well or whatever.
That would be like number one.
Yeah. Okay. So now let's assume that doesn't work. So Dad not having it. Dad, you get into an argument about it or whatever. Again, assuming
because I can tell you what most dads honestly, most dads are going to say. Well, you say you want to play hockey and I'm paying for it, and
for sure,
blah, 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 blah,
100%.
And tell them how stupid
100%. So assuming first line of defense fails, now we have to escalate. So next step that you said was maybe you need to go talk to a third party or someone. Go talk to mom, talk to somebody. So what advice on
obviously
that?
It'd be mom.
Okay.
Right? I believe mom or grandma or something like that.
Yeah.
And I would say, like, it's really hard for kids to do.
I know.
But I would say to mom, like, Mom, Dad won't leave me alone about hockey. That's kind of, and then she'd probably say, like, what do you mean? Yeah. Well, just that all the time he's always talking about hockey and how I could do better, or he's always never happy with my hockey and I'm trying my best, and it makes me feel like whatever it makes me feel like.
Yeah, I can't play. Feel pressure.
Yeah, and I just want to play hockey. Like, I'm doing my best.
Yep, that's good.
That's where I would go with that.
And then
you talk to Dad and tell him to leave me alone.
Right. Yeah. And then,
because I talked to him already and he yelled at me.
Yeah. Seriously. And then you said about if you're stuck, you could bring coach into it too.
Yeah.
If you need to.
I mean, you got to be comfortable with your coach, and I would have been with my Mr. Rose for sure. I would have been comfortable with, but I would be like, hey, coach, my dad keeps talking to me about hockey and I don't know how to get him to stop, because I don't know how they would say it. Then maybe the coach would say, like, what do you mean? How does he say it? And get a feel for it. Mm-hmm. But that's a line of defense that you can go to as well.
Yeah.
If you feel safe, right? Like you got to feel safe about that. This is the hard thing about kids. You got to feel safe.
Well, that's why I brought up the coach thing, because we said third party, but maybe mom's nuts too, right? I don't know.
Mom can be nuts, or maybe mom talks like in my house. Like I'll just be honest. When there's hockey talk, I'm the boss.
Yeah.
My wife always says that. Well, you don't have to make all the decisions. I go, I actually do.
Yeah.
But I say that with. I include my wife and I explain to her why, and that doesn't exclude her from raising my son in the hockey environment.
Right.
Because there's times in the hockey environment, she reads things with Charlie and she goes, there's something wrong.
Yep.
Like right now, like there's something wrong. I don't think he's eating. And she gets on him, and you know what I mean?
Well, like, it's some opinions are more valuable than others. Like if mom's a doctor and dad's a carpenter, you're not going to dad for your health problems. You know,
you're not getting your mom to build you a bookshelf.
Yeah. Right. So that's some opinions are just weighted higher. You're an expert in hockey, so obviously what your opinion is weighted.
But I
talked
heavily. To my wife about it. By the way.
That doesn't mean you're a dick about it or you're excluding her or anything like that.
No.
So so just recap and then we'll go to dad. So first of all, is it abusive or not? Let's assume it's not abusive. If it's abusive, you need to get help for that.
Yeah.
Try to talk to your dad. Let him know how you're feeling, whatever. If it turns into an argument and that fails, which I would say likely it won't work if dad's super nuts about hockey, then you have to go get third party to help you, whether that's mom, coach, grandpa, grandma, someone that can maybe help relay the message. Those are your 3 lines of defense. So hopefully something there on top of the mental thing that we talked about earlier, where what's his opinion worth? You need to just focus on yourself while you're playing. You got to be able to deal with some adversity or, develop the thick skin and all that kind of stuff. So hopefully that gives you some help in what you can do to deal with it. So if that isn't good, hey, follow up with another question about what you personally can do, because I want to let you go on dads now.